It's finally happening, dude. Here we are.
This is nuts.
Mischief Castle grand finale. The Vizier is here, dude. Episode 100. Reserved. The only ever reserved episode.
Sweet.
With...
You had to call a guy out from L.A.
I did, yeah. I had to call in my guys for some contract work. We are here with returning guests, distanced, spaced episode guests. 6 and 31. Ryan Gallup.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you. I was not aware I was on too.
You were on too, yeah. One at the loft,
True,
one in here.
That's right.
Yep. Episode 51. Foxy and the Golden Boy. Returning guest Evan Gallup.
Hello.
What's up, dude?
And right under the gun. Repeat guest 2 in a row. Double it up. Episode 99. White Woman Homework. It's Conor Gallup, baby. This is Mischief Castle episode 100. Our first 4-person episode. It's happening, boys.
Let's do it.
How do you name the episodes?
How do I name the episodes? So, what I usually do is, at least for the ones that I've been putting like effort into, I just listen back to it, and while I'm editing it, I'll just listen back to like my favorite bit or whatever that I can pull like a title out of, pretty much.
Okay.
And then no matter where it is in the episode, I'll just design a thumbnail around it after I'm done with the edit on the sound, and then yeah. But this one had a predetermined name, so.
Okay.
Which is what?
Yeah.
The final shebang.
Oh,
100.
It's something. It's I wanted. I'm still deciding on the exact wording of it, but it's down to a few contenders. Basically, I wanted to go with like 4 just absolutely divine, over descriptive adjectives, and then some variation on grand finale. Just having like a 100 word long title for episode 100.
Or we could do the opposite. Go French. Finn. F-I-N. Finn.
It's over for real this time.
The end of every Fire Emblem.
Yep.
It says Finn.
It just says Finn. Yeah.
You know, that Japanese.
Point that thing towards your face.
I didn't know Uncle Dwayne was a Fire Emblem guy.
Yeah, I learned that this weekend, too.
What?
Yeah.
What? This is news to me.
Like, pretty deep one, it sounded like.
Really?
Like he said he plays it
Emulated
on the
all of
GameCube
them.
or something. Or GameCube game on the PC or something like that.
Oh, he does. Yeah, I remember that actually. So I went out to Colorado last year, and he showed me his rig, his setup. He's got this insane. He's got like this petabyte, like 2 petabyte external hard drive that just has all of his game files on it for this emulator. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's literally every console up to the current generation at that time. It was the wildest thing I've ever seen. I'm sure in some country it's the biggest crime on planet Earth, but he did have Fire Emblem buried in there, and that's that came as a surprise to me, because I remember he would always ask us about it like here or there. What are you guys doing? What game is this?
I ask every year.
What's the same game you guys have been playing since you were 8?
So he actually knew.
He knew the whole time. Yeah, he was just testing us, I guess. I finished that Fire Emblem game I was working on. I spec scripted the whole thing out. Have you guys listened to the episodes we did, me and Ev?
Well, I remember you were working on something, but I don't know. It was a long time ago.
So
A
a year ago, Evan and I did an episode where it was just a normal episode, and then we did a 45-minute mini dedicated to just building the perfect Fire Emblem. Just building the perfect Fire Emblem, and I shotgunned a like spec script for this one I was thinking up at the time, and then I listened back to it, and I'm like, oh fuck it, I'll just write this whole game, and then I did, and it's Fire Emblem,
Obviously.
and the leather wings of the nuclear.
Leather wings of the nuclear?
Leather wings of the nuclear.
Does it take
Reminds me of Myrrh.
where does
A
it
little
take
bit.
place? Like in the same
Nice.
sort of universe?
Same sort of universe, high fantasy, magic-ish.
Are there Lagoos?
There's the predominant predominant species on the planet is Lagoos shapeshifters.
This is before or after Dahagensia.
Dahagensia? Dagensia?
don't
No,
know what
not the same. Not the same timeline. I figured if I ever did anything with this, like if I ever listened back to this and I fully explained it and I tried to actually make something out of it, I probably couldn't use the exact names. So, different world. I'd probably have to fucking change the working title or whatever, but like 85% of the people are all Lagoos, animal shapeshifters. Humans are like, they have no home nation anymore. They're this tiny little part of the population. They got basically like culled down to whatever starting region you go in. And then the entire thing would be like a sprawling kind of open branching path game where you start in one place and then you can go in like two directions from every one. But every permutation of the playthrough would be different because once you go in one direction, it locks the other one out. So there's ways you can get around to certain parts of like the branching story tree where going in that direction you didn't go in. But to start with, you'd be like, you could only get like 50% of the game at most to start, which would encourage replay value. But
it's like Detroit becomes human.
Kind
a
of,
little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah. So in every game of the series, of the franchise, the Fire Emblem is a different thing. It's usually like some religious symbol or thing that powers up your blue-haired sword lord. In my game, the Fire Emblem is a Nip Life have just flashed us here in real life.
Wow.
Why is that a crop top? Thank you for just
Yes.
absolutely derailing my thing.
Wearing a fucking half shirt.
I was like, he took the jacket off. And I was like, about time. And then
I was like, that thing's
took
riding a
another
little
layer
high,
off,
yeah.
and I was like, oh, wow.
Got
Oh.
warm.
Oh my! Oh
And then I
my.
just saw your titties.
For Kelsey.
Sure.
You got the Will Ferrell
Gotta dress like
cowbell
her.
look
That's
going.
I forgot.
Is that the? Oh yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Anyway,
Forgot you had to dress like.
I'm not going to that, by the way.
you're not.
No.
Why not?
I saw some of the Gallup fam yesterday on the walk,
Yeah.
so I'm counting that.
Okay.
It's my Gallup excursion. And I've got some
I'm just
stuff
not.
to do.
I'm just not going.
You don't want to go to Medusa?
Medusa hit on me like I'm Illuminati.
Yeah.
Did you get a community? Please get a Versace on my property.
Versace. But yeah, she can. I don't know what I would do anyway. I'd probably just show up.
Yeah.
Are you doing something, Cam? Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going.
Are you dressing up?
No. No.
I dress up like Kelsey. That's
You
the
could,
whole-
She said
just wear
she
that
said art of her, like a picture
Oh,
of her
that's
as a
right.
substitute. So I just photoshopped up something this morning, and
Oh, just
then
doing
failed to print it really well. But what I was saying something. What the hell was that? Thank you, Evan, for just absolutely just train crashing head on.
Detroit
collision.
becomes human.
Oh yeah.
It was a welcome
game.
distraction. Looking good over there.
Thanks.
I'm wondering what's
Oh,
under
dude.
Connor's jacket.
I was gonna wait till the hour mark to reveal.
Nipples.
Oh, the last thing is the Fire Emblem is a physical thing in every game. It's like
Yes.
it changes. They change what it is, but it's a named thing every game. In my game, the Fire Emblem, like the main bads are the dragon folks because they always are. You always got to fight a big bad dragon at the end. So the Dragon Nation, your Benyon or whatever, or what were they called in Radiant Dawn? What was the dragon? Goldoa.
Goldoa.
Dragon Country.
They didn't breathe fire though, right? That's not.
Some of them did.
Oh yeah.
The red
They
ones did.
breathed red and white.
They breathed breath. That was
Yeah,
their
that
move.
the name of their attack was Breath.
'Cause I remember Har's dragon. Har? Is that his name?
Yeah,
right.
Har. Oh, yeah.
He
That's
didn't
just a
breathe
wyvern.
fire. Oh,
Yeah.
it's just a wyvern. Okay.
yeah.
And he would just swoop down with his axe and chow.
You can get in any Fire Emblem game.
Sure.
Anyway, the Fire Emblem, the physical thing in my game is a quote unquote nuclear option for the human main characters in their animal alliance. So they don't want to use it. The whole point of stop scratching that belly button, dude. The whole point of the game is that you don't want to use the Fire Emblem because it's just basically like anti-dragon nuke that if you activate it, summons this like god spell that just wipes them out of existence. And that's like a proposed solution to them trying to wipe non-animal shifting humans off the map. So you get this like moral conflict between like, listen, if I don't do anything, they're going to kill me. I have the genocide option too, but can I use it? Yes, no, yada yada, and then you'll get your different allies. Some
so it
faction.
boils right down to genocide. Okay.
Well, genocide is the option you're trying to avoid. There would only be one genocide option, and then every other branching path option would be way away from that. But I mean, there's ways you can fuck up and end up there anyway. And I think that's an intriguing premise that's a game I would play if I didn't make it. Is if you're given, here's the end stage apocalypse dire consequences right off the bat. You do not want this to happen, but if you fuck it up, it's going to happen. And having like 20 or 30 permutations of options.
Dragons take up one tile in the game.
It depends. There would be size classes. No, there wouldn't
Dragons take up 4 in Fire Emblems nowadays.
be. Do they?
Yeah. Well, just beasts.
Beasts, yeah. The monster classes in these newer games, I do not fuck with it at all. I like things taking up one tile on a board. Like I don't like the idea because she's the big powerful one. I think everything, if you're playing like a grid-based strategy RPG, everything needs to take up the same amount of space no matter what size it is.
Scene of a dragon blowing up a castle.
Huh?
Do you remember Kurth? Do you remember Kurth's cutscene?
Oh yeah, Kurth shows up to
He takes up one tile though.
that castle. Yeah. Well, I mean, a tile is 2 tiles or diagonals is like possible throwing distance or possible ranged attack distance in those games. So it's like it could be anywhere from 5 to 20 feet is one tile. Because in every cutscene in every game, or in every fight scene in every game, the character you pick to fight somebody else will still have to run up to the other guy and try and slap him. Or if it's at range, they'll be starting at like 50 paces and then pull out an arrow and shoot and can still miss. Like it's a variable distance. Also, it's a piece of fiction. It's a video game. You can do whatever the hell you want.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is a
Really
dream that came to me. This is a legacy that I have to live through.
I just thought it'd be fun to like learn how to create a video game.
Yeah,
on Unreal Engine or something.
Growing up, we've always had ideas on how we can make
we've always
games and
wanted
stuff.
to, but just not the career path we chose.
The thing about making games, because I have some training in making games. The thing about it is that it's just insanely frustrating the amount of things going on to make any game happen. So I went to Mohan built a Votech building right behind our main campus, in like walking distance from our main campus. So our senior year like choice classes, I took game design 2. So every day for half the day,
Skipped right over one, huh?
I did actually, yeah, because I had the math and science prerequisites, so I didn't need it. Also, I was a senior, so they're like, we're not going to make him take an extra year of school to learn entry level stuff when he could just take the 2 course. And they said like, hey, if you fail this, we're just going to boot you down to 1, and then you'll be taking an extra one. But I knew all the stuff coming out of 1 already, so they sent me to game design 2. Evan, please stop. Is this going to be the
It's
thing?
not that distracting.
But you're not the one that's.
Yeah, I'm trying not to like.
Well, I just keep looking whenever I have to.
I went to game design 2, and the thing that I excelled at was making 3D models. So we worked in this program called 3ds Max. It's a bare bones skeleton kind of program where you just click a button and it generates a shape, and then every side of that shape is a polygon that you can morph and manipulate. Every corner of it is its own thing that you can push and pull. And I started doing character and weapon design, and I was making some pretty good low poly models. And then I started failing the class because we moved out of that and into coding. And coding is like 50% of game design because
Yeah.
it's just anything electronic is all code. And I fucking suck at coding. I hate it so much.
I never even tried. Is it monotonous, like beyond belief? Or?
The thing about, I mean, there's people who are really successful with it, and you don't have to be like super autistic and dive into the rabbit hole to be able to be good at it, right? But it's just something that I can't do because it's a new language that I can't ascribe any meaning to anything inside of it.
It's like Python.
Yeah, Python, C#, C++,
You're not fluent in Python?
Visual Studio.
I know, like ChatGPT and some of the AI softwares though are helping people skirt that a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
So you can
So
type
AI.
in, "I want the code written for this character to run across a 2-mile distance, whatever."
Yeah, there's
And then shoot it out, but-
so the code languages, the bare bones of it, the simplified ones, the ones that aren't binary, because there's binary code languages which are way more monotonous because it's literally just yes no on every single thing and you have to pump that in manually. The ones that are not so monotonous and kind of boiled down for ease of access, they have all these inside. I like to call them like insider terms. Just shit like, have you ever heard the word Boolean before?
Boolean?
Boolean.
Yes,
No.
You've heard the word Boolean.
I've heard it.
In what context? Does it mean anything to you?
Boolean.
Man, you bull.
Boy, you bull.
Like a bunch of metal? Boolean?
Nope.
Sure.
How are you spelling it?
Boolian.
Not the. Not
It's
the
like
Boolean
Kodak
I was
Black.
thinking.
No, not Bullion. No, it's a different thing.
Okay, yeah.
Not
Google
bouillon.
it.
Not the little meat cube either. No, it's
I can go for some meat. Sorry.
It's
It-
actually EAN.
Hmm?
Boolean.
EAN, not IAN.
Oh, whatever. I haven't been in a coding class in 5 years, so
Boolean.
take my word lightly. But
Boolean?
basically, it's a coding term that means a very specific function inside of any coding language, and that is not something I could learn and ascribe meaning to because it didn't like it. It only functions like this with that meaning of that word inside of this system. And the way that I learn things is that I relate them to outside stuff that I already know. So I could not wrap my head around what all these functions do. And it's not just the one. Like, if that's the only one I remember, but there's like 50 other terms inside of coding where every function has its own name and does its own thing. And I just could never remember any of them. And you have to manually pump in the exact one every time. Before AI scripting of anything to help you, there is no like codex or like dictionary of these terms inside of this programming system to look up the function that you want and then pump it in, and it just loads up the name, and you can ascribe whatever character model or function or action to it. You'd have to remember it, type it in every single time.
So you weren't good at the vocab?
I wasn't good at the vocab, pretty much. And then also the exact way that code works is that it needs to be inside of certain parameters. So everything has to end in a semicolon. And that's for every individual functional word. It has to be a semicolon. What are you doing back there? What are you hiding? What are you hiding? What's he building back
He's just
Fun with the
stroking.
fuzz.
there? He's just fucking around with the hole in the...
Just fondling.
Yeah, there's everything needed to be like to a T. Like, you got to dot all your I's, cross all your T's, and if you don't, it just breaks. The whole thing breaks. It doesn't work. You have to reopen your entire script, and it won't tell you where the error is. You just have to figure out, why doesn't this work, and then fuck around with everything and make it work. I just couldn't do it. I like writing. I like drawing. I like music, character design, character modeling, weapon modeling, all that fighting, all that external stuff that makes games work, but the actual DNA of it, I fucking suck at. And you need it. You need a whole team of people dedicated to just that sort of stuff. Like, it's almost impossible to build
By yourself.
a game of any quality by yourself, even in like pre-built systems. Like, there's this thing online. You ever heard of RPG Maker?
Yeah.
Role playing game there.
No, but
Yeah.
yeah, I can assume.
Did you see the video where they used that to make a Shrek game by themselves?
Yeah.
Isn't Bionicle getting made by one guy?
The game?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a new game of it?
Oh yeah, pull it up, Jamie.
Okay, sure,
Son of Jamie?
sure. Jamie, son of Jamie. Oh, geez, this is weird.
Just type in Team Kanohi on YouTube there.
No, on YouTube.
I can hold your mic.
No, I'm all good.
You can type faster with 2 hands.
No, I got long fingers. It's all good. I did not know that they're getting a new. Oh, they are getting a new game.
Yeah, dude.
That's sick. I'll have to
And
check
isn't
that out.
Manor-
See the trailer. I haven't seen it.
Isn't Manor Lords made by one guy, right?
Yes. Mainly.
You gotta have some
He
help.
contracts out like some of the music and like character design stuff. But like he's the architect behind all of it.
Is there volume on this? Like the TV? Does the TV have a?
There's that remote there to your bottom left.
Oh, this is made by Essinger. I know that guy. I follow that guy on TikTok and stuff. What kind of game is this?
I wasn't expecting that music.
No.
You weren't expecting the All American Rejects?
No.
Is this All American Rejects?
Aw.
It's a big throwback for me.
Yeah.
This is one dude you said?
Horde.
Oh, that looks good.
The original Bionicles looked kind of whack though to me. Some of them looked kind of skin and bone.
Oh, this is Cryo Shell. This is not All American Rejects. This is Cryo Shell.
You guys know someone like our age who made this game, like when they got older.
Yep. 100%.
Oh yeah, this is us in another life if we just fully spec'd into computer stuff.
So which one is your favorite of the colors?
What is my favorite color, or which is my favorite Bionicle?
Yeah, what? I don't know their names. For me, it's just all
It's just
about the
colors?
swag, yeah.
When I was a kid, I really, really liked Liwa, the green one, Lua. And then as I got older, I became a big Kopaka guy. I like the white one, the ice one.
Yeah, the white one was my boy.
When I was a kid, I thought he was an asshole, and I kind of fucking hated him. And then as I got older and I
Once you
became
realized you were also an asshole,
I
then
became
you're like,
jaded.
I like this guy.
I became jaded with life, and I started hating fucking everything. I was like, "Yeah, this guy's onto something."
I was like Tahu.
You like Tahu, the hothead?
Gotta love Tahu.
Tahu.
Tahu Pohadu.
Dang. I have not. I didn't know. I heard whispers of that from
Early next year.
Yeah.
We'll see. On Steam, I saw. Oh,
Oh jeez.
that's right. We are in just for the music.
Amazing.
That's incredible. No, I did not know that was a thing. I did not know that was
Right
happening.
into an hour's worth of Dune.
Oh jeez. We gotta get on that in a second.
Suck on this.
So
Mega cheeseburger, mega cheeseburger.
double cheeseburger, Whopper, 4-piece nuggets, and a Coke. So Dune Part 2 coming early 2024.
Can't fucking wait.
Yeah.
So Ryan, you're
Supposed to
the
come out last month, but
you're the resident Dune expert here in this family and on this podcast.
I've read 5 of the 6,
5 of the 6.
and I'm on the 6th.
So the first movie, the first new movie, of course, that came out, is just the first half of the first book, correct?
That is
Like
correct,
when Paul and Jessica meet up with the Fremen and kill what's his face, Jardis or whatever the hell his name is, and join the Fremen and first start going into the desert. That is the halfway point of the first book.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
What's
Okay,
the
so-
leader of the Fremen? What's his name?
Well, at what point?
In the movie. in the Timothy Chalamet movie.
Like when it begins.
Like when it begins.
Stilgar.
Stilgar, and he's portrayed by what actor, Ryan?
Bardo. Javier Bardot.
Javier, close. That's
very-
actually
it's
way
much
closer than I
closer.
expected. Yeah, Javier
It's
Bardem.
usually
Bardem.
way more off for me. Yeah.
That was Connor's gamble on the last episode. He said, "Ask Ryan the specific name of that actor. He will not remember." He locked that in.
You was right.
He made
So what is it?
Javier Bardem. You were very
Bardem.
close. Yeah,
You were close. I'll give you credit.
you get
Probably
you-
the closest you've ever come in your whole life to the correct.
Thank you.
That's the closest you ever come in your entire life to Javier Bardem.
So yeah, the second movie is gonna be Paul is in the desert, and he's trying to get Arrakis back, like in the control of the Fremen.
I'm intrigued by the deal with his mom. Is she like an empath or something? She can feel all of his thoughts or his
She's Bene
fears.
Gesserit, which I'm sure Connor knows a little bit about.
I heard that name, and they did not go into very much detail. They're just some magic people, I understood, but like every single expose shot of that woman, she's like, it's related to her son, and then she's like, oh, I'm feeling what he's
Yeah.
thinking, and
So her conflict is because the whole Dune series is based in reality, if you believe it or not, but it's like 5,000 years into the future. So it's like a ridiculous amount of time into the future where, and there's no aliens. It's just human colonization over time in the solar system or in the universe. But the Bene Gesserit, they're basically like an order that sort of manipulates behind the scenes political power, and they themselves are like some of the most powerful people in the universe. But they choose to keep it hidden because if everyone actually knew what kind of power they had, they would kind of get sought out and
overthrown,
destroyed.
yeah.
But they know themselves, like their credo is like know thyself. So they can control their bodies in combat and then use their senses to kind of pick up cues that other people miss.
Ooh.
So they're a very like hyper organism of a human.
You were saying to me a couple of years ago that I might be misquoting you here, but you said something about how their or the book's portrayal of their kind of understanding of psychology or whatever their mystical mind powers are is that they can kind of like predict specific points of like conversation or what you'll say up to like
Eventually.
Yeah.
up to like
With
500
spice
years in the
and
future.
everything.
Yeah, spice helps with that, and that's where you get they reference it in the movie, I think, the Empire Truthsayer. Like, once she gets on the spice, she gets, like, into herself a little bit more and can kind of pick up more of what you're saying. So if Connor's talking to me and he makes a little twitch or doesn't finish a sentence correctly, that might tell that, he's lying or something.
Oh, okay.
If I start drooling or something.
But, I mean, they're trying to find someone who can predict the future, essentially. The Kwisatz Haderach. And then
That's their biggest goal.
That's their biggest goal. Yeah. So the Bene Gesserit, when they take the spice, they get all their ancestors' memories from the female side, basically.
Oh shit. Okay.
So
The
and then they can
X-chromosome
pull on that
memories.
knowledge to help them make decisions as well.
okay.
So what they are seeking is someone that can look into the male and female memories, which Paul can do eventually. But he's the first person that could ever do it. And the Bene Gesserit want to control him, but once he kind of gets awoken, they lose control of him, and he kind of.
So all of that,
does
like,
his thing, yeah.
all of that, like, when he's freaking out in the tent in the desert with his mom after the
Yeah.
after the attack by the
He's
Sardaukar,
awakening, yeah.
they're like, all that premonition future stuff about like, oh, they fly my father's flag, a holy war in my name. That's all.
Yeah.
Like he's looking at himself. He's
But
looking through his
that's
own
looking at
eyes.
Potential futures,
Yeah.
right?
And
It does differ though, because his visions in the end, not Jardis or whatever, the guy he kills at the end of the movie in that like
Yeah,
challenge
so-
combat was supposed to be his like guide to riding the worm.
Jameis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the books, he does have that moment in the tent, but it's a lot more. It's a little less like fanatic. He's more of like his eyes are just blank, face blank, and he's like thinking a mile a minute of scenarios. And his brain can't control like the amount of scenarios that's going on, so he's like sort of just like drooling. But I will say, like you were mentioning Jameis, so he saw about millions of outcomes of where Jameis helped him learn the desert, or Jameis killed him. And what it boiled down to was Jameis was going to help, like, show him the way.
Yep.
So in his mind, like, he knew Jameis very well. So when he had to kill him, it was very emotional in the books.
Oh, all right.
Because in his mind, he's like, he was supposed to be my friend. He was supposed to help me.
Okay.
So in a way, he helped him because of killing him. He got accepted into the tribe and started that foothold.
Oh. All right.
Also, they don't mention in the movie is he's trained as a mentat from birth.
A mentat?
A mentat is basically like a computer, a human computer. That's what he's.
Yes.
So they don't mention it in the movie, but Paul is trained as that, and part of that training is so he can unlock his ancestry a little bit easier because he can kind of methodically go through it all, and then, and then the spice sensitivity to spice, and then just the Atreides bloodline has sort of a prescience, they call it, like ability to predict the future a little bit. So you kind of combined all these things into Paul, and then his crazy training from birth, basically, too.
The framing of that movie made me a little bit uncomfortable when I watched it. So I saw it twice. I watched it once by myself a couple months ago, and then I went out to Oswego with some friends on Halloween weekend, and we got just way too destroyed. So we didn't go out our second night. We just went to an off-campus apartment with all of our friends, and we just sat down and watched the movie because we're like, we're not moving right now. We need something to just lock us down so that we're not going anywhere. And then
I've also been to Oswego twice during Halloween.
To get destroyed.
it's a
Pretty
fucking
much.
it's a time.
Fucking wrecked, bro.
It is a time.
It's a shitty place, honestly.
It's I mean, yeah, it's a
Most college towns are.
Yeah, but most college towns are.
there's nothing there aside from bars and banks. That's literally it. It's a college on a Great Lake. It's just there to be a sightseeing place, pretty much.
You guys should have went to Albany.
To party for Halloween.
If I didn't break my leg, I probably would have.
Just
Never invited me.
experience it.
Bro.
Yeah, for real.
Come on, man. I was ready to get down.
Well,
We had it in, and
Let's
you
party
just
with
didn't take
Coburn.
it.
I dropped you up at a party once. I think.
Yeah.
Or picked you up from one.
maybe
I
both.
can't remember yet.
But yeah, I didn't think you guys were cool enough.
Thanday, man. Anyway,
Albany's lame.
the framing of that
Don't know how to
movie.
get down.
The capital?
Small Bunny.
You guys probably had accounting parties.
We're playing checkers at the accounting party. Come hang out with us. We're playing checkers, guys.
Oh my god, guys. Evan did the Section 107 tax code in under 10 minutes. So that's a record for our tribe.
Not funny.
You're in an accounting frat, right?
No.
Accounting frat.
An international honorary organization.
Cult.
Frats.
We were in
we
an
don't have those
accounting
at UA.
humane society.
Did you have Greek letters?
Yeah.
That's a frat. That's a frat, Buster.
Beta Alpha Psi, stand up. Or just sit down.
Sit down and do your work.
Anyway,
That was your guys' phrase or whatever.
Stand up, boys.
stand
Let's
up, boys.
sit
Sit
down
down,
and
do your work.
And pray.
I was with some friends in Oswego watching that fucking movie, and by the time the scene in the tent happened, somebody just like piped up. It's like the movie's framed in such a way where people can think like, you ever just sit in a tent with your mom and there's a weird sexual tension for some reason?
Oh.
Because it's just, I mean, you know this by knowing the series. It's just the way that the movie is framed visually with the way Jessica reacts to everything that happens with Paul makes it seem like she can feel the things
her
that
son.
he's feeling. Yeah, but it's not just like a motherly concern. The
Yeah.
Bene Gesserit bloodline powers or whatever, or the empath bullshit going on there makes it seem like she's literally in his head and feeling the things he's feeling, not seeing them maybe necessarily,
Imagine
but
if your son was the chosen one.
having that rush of
Yeah.
emotions at the same time as him. And
Well,
then,
they've been trying to find the Kwisatz Haderach their entire existence.
yeah.
And then that's the moment where Jessica's like, oh shit, he is the Kwisatz Haderach. And she's also torn. And Paul is Bene Gesserit too, obviously. Like
What?
he got that training, but
But she broke her
Yeah. So she was supposed to have a daughter, and Bene Gesserit can control the embryo or whatever, and they can pick what sex baby they have,
Gattaca, some Gattaca.
whatever that means. But yeah,
It's a movie where in the near future people can alter the genes of their kids before they're made. That's
so
the
yeah,
premise.
very much like that, and that's just like control of their body, basically.
Okay.
But she was supposed to have a daughter to marry to Phaedra Alpha, and then they were gonna try for that child to be Kwisatz Haderach. Phaedra Alpha is the Baron's nephew, and he's also getting special training and everything. So, but because she was in love with Leto, Paul's father, and Leto really wanted a son, she disobeyed her Bene Gesserit initiative and said, I gave him a son, and decides to try to train him to be the Kwisatz anyway.
Leto and Jessica are not married, correct?
No, she's concubine.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Which is, but they do love each other
Yes,
a lot.
yeah.
And the only reason Leto doesn't marry her is to keep like possible political alliances on the table.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
if he's, available to be married, technically other houses will covet that to,
Yes,
form
yes.
alliances. But it's a very feudal society.
The Baron's nephew, that's Batista. It's Dave Batista. It's a guy we have not seen
That
in the movie.
is Beast Raban.
Yeah, Beast of the Bond. Okay.
Phaedra Alpha will be in part 2, though, played by
The guy who played Elvis Presley most recently.
Austin, what's his face?
It's Austin.
Austin something? Austin, Texas. Portrayed by the city of Austin, Texas.
Austin Butler.
Yes.
Austin Butler. There we go. Cool.
Right.
He got oh my god,
That's crazy.
dude! Rise off that spice right now. He knows fucking everything. That reminds me. Have you any?
Pull the part 2 trailer up is really good, and it shows him and his character's portrayal.
I did not
well.
know there was a trailer. I am out of the loop on everything. I
Dune
guess.
Part 2 4K trailer, Max HD.
Part 2 trailer. You know what? We'll watch this first, and then I'll. 22 million views. That is
Can't wait,
ridiculous.
dude.
This movie's gonna be fucking insane.
That's Beast Raban, who plays. Yeah.
Shield tech in this movie. Some of my favorite shit ever.
Yeah, it's cool.
We believe in Fremen. Let me fight beside you. Reload! He said that. I got that. Thanks.
Haha, quips, dude.
Fighting for my people.
Yeah, I know. Holy shit, Josh Brolin's alive?
Yep. Yeah, I wish they saved that for the movie. but-
Why is that a bad thing? Use it. Because all my visions lead to horror. Because you lose control. Because I gain it. Johnny, do you believe in me? Paul Atreides is still alive.
Holy shit, Saw? They put Saw in this movie?
With this prophet. Show me your arms.
Is that him? Is that the butt?
It's Butler.
Let's go.
Father. Was a weak man.
That's the Emperor, played by.
Who comes back from the
You guys know his name.
Yeah. I do not know his name.
He's a popular guy.
Yeah, I know.
We gave them something to hope for. That's not hope!
Is this where he becomes a Power Ranger? Oh, yeah.
I'll love you as long as I breathe. This prophecy is how they enslave us! It's not a prophecy. It's a story. I don't care what you believe. I believe. I am Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis. Under the blue sea of Zandar.
Fuck yeah.
Let's go, dude. Different, very different
Pew.
musical direction. Like one, yeah.
Oh. It's all still there.
Yeah, it's
Evolved a little bit.
it's there, but the
Less throat singing.
It's still Hans Zimmer.
There'll
Is it
be
though?
some throating. for
the
sure.
there was a specific leitmotif throughout all the music in the first movie. Do you know do you guys know what that word is? Leitmotif.
Distortion.
Sounds French.
In a
I agree.
in a piece of art or a theme of music, I guess.
The motive? Is that what it means?
The motif is the specific pattern that repeats in something. So a leitmotif is across different pieces of art or music that are in the same collection if they have the same pattern in it. So that like thing that was going on with all the synths, all that synth shit going on in the music that kept happening in every different piece of music in the first movie. That's the leitmotif, is that specific pattern, no matter what instrument it comes with or what setting it's in. That's the leitmotif. And I didn't hear it in that trailer at all. So
I
it
mean,
makes
the
me
girl's voice was in the first, but it's in a different sort of way, I guess. So does it have to be the same music throughout, or can it be
Saw a
tweaked
video
slightly
of
throughout?
Hans Zimmer talking.
No, it can be slightly different. Here, I'll pull up my favorite song from the Leaving Kaladin.
He's got a lot of futuristic mechanical noises.
Oh, so this right here. When it kind of rises a little bit, that is the leitmotif. So in this specific song, it's just the forefront instrument is that synth playing that pattern. But in almost every scene-setting piece of music in the first movie,
The Batman movies do that.
Yes.
Like a lot of big.
that right there, that's in every single piece of music in the movie. And I didn't hear that in the trailer, but which I don't mind if they want to go in a different musical direction to tell a different part
It's
of the story. I
also
don't care.
just a trailer. Like,
Yeah,
some
of
of those
course.
scenes might not even be in the movie. Like,
It was
They
3
tend to
minutes
do that,
long, though.
really.
That's like a long trailer. That's a really long trailer.
it's like what they did with
Dune 1.
Not yet, but there probably will be. But like even in the first trailer, they showed Zendaya a bunch, and she was barely.
She's
in the
barely
first
in that fucking movie.
So
True.
That's fair.
it's hard to get a full picture of what's going.
All that Bloodline stuff reminds me. Have any of you guys seen Attack on Titan or heard anything about Attack on
I
Titan?
know it's an anime.
Or, I mean, I'll just tell you. The crux of that story is very similar to the stuff with the Bene Gesserit in Dune, and I didn't know that was going on in Dune. But in Attack on Titan, there's this weird bloodline power, very similar, that turns people into these huge giants
Titans.
called Titans. Yes.
Wow.
That's cool.
Some people don't know what that word means. You got to lead with giant. And there's certain people who can willingly turn themselves into them, and people who don't have that like bloodline power who get turned into it, they're just trapped. They go full spastic, lost in their mind, turn into a fucking animal, like a huge 30-foot animal, and just go around eating people. But one of the Titan's special ability is called the Coordinate, and it whoever has it can see through the eyes of everyone who ever has had the ability and ever will have it through this thing called the Path. It's this like infinite dreamscape desert.
The weirding way.
And the protagonist of the story becomes the antagonist because he just goes full schizo. He can't handle having every single moment of history in his head at once. But it's a very similar concept where once you kind of unlock your reading into that ability, you can know all of the future and see every permutation of it and every thought everyone's ever had about what the future could be, and try to make specific things happen. It's a very interesting
that's
power.
very similar to Dune and how the story goes beyond the first book. So
I love shit like that.
and the spice is at the center of it all because the spice gives people the ability to tap into that power. So Paul takes it to another degree because of all his background, and he basically gets the ultimate prediction. Like he learns ultimate prediction, but what he learns is that like ultimate prediction is basically death because there's nothing he doesn't know that's going to happen anymore. And when like a series of events that are bad for himself start happening, he's very like depressed about it, basically,
of course,
because he can't really alter it. He knows it's coming, and he just a little bit of the future books is he ends up losing his eyes from a incident,
Okay.
but because of his ultimate prediction, he can still walk around the world
And see
unafflicted,
exactly where everything is because
and
it
he
doesn't
can
matter.
see, like based on his pure sense and like mind reading, he knows what you're wearing, he knows where you are located, he knows what you're gonna do, and he can basically fragment himself a world without eyes.
Like a psychic daredevil.
Yeah.
Prescience.
Prescience in its fullest capability.
Last question, because this is becoming a 45-minute Dune interview.
I love that.
The spice is not a fuel, correct? It does not make. It's not the fuel
It's
for
a-
interstellar travel.
No,
Well, it
so
is.
it's more of a human fuel. So it's used. Guild navigators are basically how you safely get through the universe and have a universe this size. So that is a person that is saturated with the spice. They're basically in a tank filled with spice their whole life,
Okay.
and when they tap into their prescience, it shows them a safe path through the galaxy to
Okay.
chart a big spaceship, basically.
All right. That makes sense.
So, and then later in the
I mean, no,
books,
it
not
doesn't,
to get
but-
too off track, but like when they're trying to, the political games they play once Paul eventually takes the throne, they're trying to stop him and take it back, especially Bene Gesserit trying to regain control, and they eventually end up turning to the Guild Navigators to try to help predict what Paul is going to do
Okay.
because they have that ability as well.
That's
But,
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for the Dune interview, folks. We'll be right back.
Mischief or custard?
You. Yes, you.
Me?
Yes, you. Do you live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Baltimore, Maryland, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Spokane, New York, Spokane, Washington, or Atlanta, Georgia? If you do, you qualify for one free ticket to go fuck yourself. That's right, call now. Free consultation to go fuck yourself.
Mischief Castle!
Ev, let's start it to you. You have not said a lot. Can you please...
Yes, I have.
Sorry. Welcome back to Mr. Castle episode 100, folks. Ev, can you tell us the jury duty story, please? So I... this was the first segment I wrote down for this episode when you first requested it, and I've been thinking about it for over a year, because when you told me the story as it happened a few years ago, it was maybe one of the funniest sequences of events I'd ever heard at the time. So please, with the new audience and on audio capture, can you describe to us what happened on those fateful days in summer 2019 or whenever it was?
I will try my best. Yeah, it was a while ago. A lot of the details are scattered. I told you right after it happened.
Yes.
It was all fresh. So funny. But yeah, going back 2019, I was working summer camp job. Con wasn't there, but get the jury duty papers first time. I'm not sure if you guys have ever been on one.
I did not get selected, but I went to go to the thing.
I got out of it. I told him I was racist. I was not
You're
an impartial.
Really?
No, you can do that. You can do that.
You can do that, but
Yeah,
you have to
'cause-
have balls to stand up and say I'm racist.
That's
I've
the
done it
jury
plenty
duty
of
show.
times.
I don't know if you guys saw the show,
I saw the first few episodes.
but one of the actors is like pretends to be racist, and he's like, "Oh, that guy told me to be racist, so I get out of it."
Well, they said you have to be like impartial. Like the jury of your peers concept
I thought
requires.
you'd love judging
fully-
people.
Huh?
So.
I do, but not in a court of law.
Why?
I don't believe in the rule
That's
of
when
law.
it actually matters.
I believe in
You're an anarchist?
I believe in natural justice, not governmental
Street
forces. Yeah. If I could build the world my own way, I would turn it into a Wild West so fast.
Trial by combat.
Absolutely. All things. All like
People didn't duel that long ago, really. Like people used to
There's,
duel
like,
to settle their grievances.
there's like 5 episodes of this show specifically about how we need to bring dueling back. Like that is my firm political belief.
Most duels, people would just shoot into the air.
Yeah.
You're corrupted by Alexander Hamilton.
No, that's how most of the duels went. It was like just to show you had the balls to show that you would put your life on the line for an issue. That's enough, and then you would just shoot into the air. People weren't
I mean, that's what
Not
dying nonstop every day. In
Not
the
me.
streets.
I'll kill a motherfucker.
No, but that's what it kind of devolved into, I would say. Like, I would say before that, there was fencing. That was sword dueling, basically. That was the same thing. But people, would hack each other to bits.
I think it was officially banned in the early 1800s by most countries.
Anyway, not Wild West justice, real justice, court of law. Evan, jury duty.
Got selected, went there, saw my old buddy from elementary school straight away, Stephen Wells. Not really my buddy.
Shout out.
We had some
Shout out to the dog.
troubles in the past. He got in trouble for always punching my nuts in 3rd grade.
Just punching?
Just punching him. No fondle. But he kind of got the talking to, like, don't fondle people. Like that. That's what he got yelled at for.
Don't
I
touch
mean, that's a
people's
slippery
nuts.
slope.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna start out 6 years old touching nuts,
Yeah.
like you can open that hand real quick and that becomes a crime.
Lincoln used to have a butt problem. You love
Slap
touching
butts.
butts. Yeah.
Yo, you're putting the cuzzo on blast here. Oh my god.
He would admit it, I think.
He was young. He could
Yeah,
get
I
away
like
with it.
slapping butts, It was just the thing I had to get over.
Yeah. I mean, he got over it, thankfully.
It would make him laugh.
Yeah.
Like he would get pleasure.
Don't use that word, Evan. Evan, he's 11 years old. Do not
He
use
was
that word.
6 at the time. He would slap
makes it
someone's
even
butt
worse.
and just go. Yeah. So I saw Steven, a little awkward. We both know what went down back then.
Hey, you used to fondle me back in the day, right?
Yeah. But we both went up in the second round of jurors. There was one guy who was clearly trying to get out of it. The details of that I can't reflect exactly, so I'll just skip over. But
over
it
it.
was funny. I remember that. Steven and I went up. We got selected. Steven was selected as the foreman. Did the speaking for all of us.
Oh,
And
God.
We are, yeah.
Doesn't he have a list?
He had an awe.
Oh,
Awe.
It is
Awe.
like 2 hours.
So-
Nothing wrong with that, but
Yeah,
as
he was
the
foreman.
sole speaker, it would
Foreman.
be a little difficult, I would think. Yeah.
Yes. So we were both 19, and amongst a jury of our peers of all fully blown adults. And yeah, that was the last time I saw him. And our lunch breaks, we talked it out, and we had we just had a great time. Steven and I.
I
The most
forgive you for
unlikely
punching me in the
person.
nuts.
Yeah.
I'm
Expeditiously
guessing
and
he
repeatedly.
matured a little. I know,
Yes.
even because he went to summer camp for a
Yeah,
bit. And
he wasn't there that year.
He kind of was hated by all, though.
He was hated by all.
Universally hated counselor
But
by children and adults, I think. Yeah.
yeah, he went to school. I know he hit the books hard. Didn't party at all. We were talking about college during a lot of it, and Steven was just saying how he would stay up late at college, and I was like, oh, we're talking about 2 different things, like the Mountain Dew he drank. It was that sort of convo. So I'm like, all right, yep, different experience, but cool that you're doing that, focusing on school. That's interesting. To the case itself, walking in the first day, you heard the door open and then the ground shake. There was already at the tables, there was a prosecutor. It was, I think, town appointed. Clearly her first time.
Bring the mic with you.
Clearly her first time, like a young Italian skin-toned woman, and this defender who hair, but he'd been around. But to help out the prosecutor was this 500-pound beast.
That's what was rattling them.
Stomping down the middle of the court late. In a huff.
She took the Titan pill.
And she plopped into her chair.
And it shattered.
Made a noise. And the whole crowd, because we hadn't been chosen at this point, but the whole crowd was just watching her. Everyone was looking around. And yeah, so that started it off. The case itself.
It's a beautiful scene.
Was the defendant. He was fighting like his third strike of a DUI, his third one. So he clearly hired somebody good to try to get him out of it, and the case. So yeah, the details against him were damning. Like that night, he was driving naked.
Oh, Jesus.
When they found him, he had crashed through several mailboxes through people's lawns. He's clearly driving drunk. I don't remember them providing the breathalyzer information or anything like that, which is why I think it went to court.
Yeah.
But clearly drunk where he was, and then he left, and his trail was, he was going to get his third strike.
Yeah.
But they tried to fight it because we weren't there for sentencing. We just gave the verdict of guilty or not guilty. But you just could tell it was her first time. She almost didn't know. Like her opening statement, she said a few sentences, stammered through it, and then the defense team, it was just one guy solo. He delivered what he had to say perfectly, which he always did, and you could just tell it was going to be a Titan versus a first timer and a horker. Like, and she would fumble through all of her notes, and eventually she got called out by the guy. And this judge had no control of the courtroom. It was just a mess.
Just the substitute teacher of judges.
Right.
Yeah.
He would flip-flop on it because everything the prosecution said, every witness they brought up, so they brought up 10 witnesses for a DUI case, which the guy was just... But all the witnesses were the 911 operator from a person's house, the person who transferred the call, people who did not need to be there. And the line of questioning was just, so where were you on this night? Did you receive a call? Okay, thank you. Go, please. You can go home now. And the person was you could tell they were pissed and
what the fuck?
Yeah.
See why I don't believe in the justice system? See why I want to go back to dueling? I'd say if he broke my mailbox, I should just be able to shoot him in the courtroom. That's
basically she proved nothing. The details just aren't flying back, just line by line. So it's not a great story now, I guess, but it was just such a great time, and I look back on it fondly. I'd have to call up Steven and go through it because
he probably knows.
So the guy won?
No, he was clearly drunk, so he got the DUI. He got the third one, but every count of destruction of property and there was several counts and dismissed all of those.
Oh my God.
And there's pictures of the yards destroyed, but what the prosecution did, every information they brought up, it got rejected. When the judge was having pity on the prosecution, the guy would be like, "Why, Judge? Can I approach the bench?" He did it 6 times, and the judge was like, You could just see it.
Ah.
But town of Knox Court, if you ever get papers from them to
It's a good time.
as a
Town of
jury
Knox. Did we go there?
I think we did.
summons
Yeah. It was kind of a shit show as well.
Kind of.
for for the
our-
deer
Well,
or for trespassing. Yeah.
For our non-guilty.
yeah.
You guys got a court summons?
I love
You
the
guys had a
story
case
of
against
Dad
you?
representing himself in
Yeah.
front of a
Oh, what
court
is
of
this? Hold on, I didn't know this. Tell this? Someone tell
He
this
probably
story.
wants us to forget about it, but
Sure. Well,
so
no,
let's cement it into memory with a recording,
me,
obviously.
or Ryan,
it's not
Dad,
bad,
and
it's just-
myself were hunting around Thanksgiving, probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
yeah.
Something
James
like
is
that.
also out. He was in a different piece of land, but
Yep. But so, we're out there. We get 2 deer, and we start hauling them back. And
which, just to back up, is like we never get 2 deer.
no, yeah, it's
In the early morning too, like it was perfect.
perfect day.
Couldn't ask for anything. Because the worst thing about hunting is like you sit out there in the cold for 6 hours, don't see anything, and then you leave.
Yep.
But so we were in there maybe an hour or two, and both got 2 deer, and we were smitten. But sorry, continue.
No, good. Started hauling them out, and then I think James got to the vehicles first, and then he came back to us and like, hey, there's cops out there by the trucks waiting.
And he shot a deer as well.
So actually, yeah, that's right. But so
He was
The-
coming to help us haul out and saw that, yeah, trooper.
Trooper was like,
Got it.
listen, we got a call from some neighbor around here saying that you guys are hunting on our land or something, and we're like, we're not, obviously, but he's like, I really don't give a shit about this, but if you guys can get out of here before the NCON officer arrives, then
And
good.
Con is like game
Environmental
warden,
conservation
basically. Yeah.
wording.
So yeah, nature police basically.
The Rangers, if you will.
Yes.
But so we were still pretty deep in the woods at that point, so kind of we were trying our best to get up there, but by the time we got to the vehicles, he was already around. So,
Yep.
we kind of explained to him the situation and how we were hunting on property behind this person's. We weren't hunting on their property, but there was just like this little corner of her property that we crossed over. And so
And there's like a foot of snow down, so you can easily tell
yeah,
tracks.
you can see our tracks, like where we cut over her property line. And he's like, well, it makes a big difference because you're not like trespassing while hunting. But this person wants to get you guys for trespassing right now. So we got all 3 of us.
Yeah. And
Uh,
for just more context, so the land we were hunting on is owned by like a New York City property, company. So
Okay.
they're not like living there. They don't like tend to the land or anything.
Nope.
We've tried to contact them multiple times to just see if we could hunt it, see if we could buy it, and heard nothing from them. So we said, all right, we can hunt this. Like no one's gonna really give a shit.
Yep.
But the neighbor on the right, Keister, whose land we didn't trespass, he's the one who called in us trespassing on someone else's land.
Oh, so the
Because
person...
he, like, even
What
though
the
he
fuck?
doesn't own that hunting land, he lives near it and is, like, very defensive. Like, oh, it's basically mine. So he's always guarding it, always been a pain in the ass. There's plenty of other stories we could tell
Probably tell one.
about him, yeah. So, yeah, he's the one who called, and so yeah, we basically had to show up in court. But
Knox courts and to address ourselves for trespassing. And we show up the first time on time. The officer didn't show, and the landowner didn't show. So
Okay.
instead of throwing dismissing the case, because trespassing is a little bit more severe than driving over the speed limit or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, we're just going to reschedule your court date.
Okay.
So a month later or something, we come back, same thing. No one's there, no officer, no landowner. And so kind of before the second one, though, our dad and the judge kind of like, we're talking just a little bit about the case. He's like,
yeah, before it started.
the judge is like, if no one shows, you got a motion to like dismiss the case because they didn't have this certain section of the process signed, and then we can move against it. But so like we get called up for this case, and then the judge is like asking a bunch of questions, and Dad's just like,
Yep.
Yeah. But Dad basically beforehand said, like, I've got all my notes here. Like, I've looked into everything. I've emailed the judge ahead of time. Like, I got us covered. Like, you don't have to say anything.
brought this big stack of papers.
And me and Conor are like, all right, cool. Like, we'll
stand
just
there.
sit back here and be fine. And so, yeah, I mean, they bring it up, and they're like, they still haven't filed it. And they basically looked at my dad and us, and they're like, what do you want to do? And we're not lawyers.
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't know what to
So
say.
we just sit there kind of quiet, and Dad is just like,
Don't worry, guys. I've seen Better Call Saul. I know how this goes.
well, he doesn't say anything. And
So you eventually.
so I go, well, they didn't sign it or something like that. And the judge is like, well, that's not a problem, like, of the courts. Like, that's not our fault. And then I was like, fuck. And then that's when Dad said, no, like, and then they're like, we're going to dismiss it.
Yeah. There's like this really awkward exchange between Dad and Judge, and then
Yeah.
they're like, we're just going to throw this thing.
And I was like, thank God.
Jeez.
Because I thought I just buried us for saying they didn't sign it.
Town and Knox, baby.
But I was
Nothing
like,
going
we got to
on.
say something here. So
Yeah.
I just said, like,
Dad was just staring him down.
Well, I think Dad was expecting a different line of questions, you know,
well, he thought he'd have to explain himself, and he never did.
the whole situation. And
So
I'm imagining Dad like preps these sheets, right? And then the judge skips to the end, basically. And so 75% of what Dad had to prepare, he just had to skip. And he was caught off guard.
yeah.
But
Your dad's incidents, dude. Some of them. I'll get to that in a sec. Oh, my God.
But so, I mean, yeah, that was our trespassing thing. But Keister, the guy who tried to nail us, like, there's a feud between the old Gallops and Keister.
Yeah.
That whole family. It's like a legitimate feud. This was probably 35 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, when my dad and our Uncle John were kids and
Yeah.
hunted with our great-grandpa.
Hunting with our great-grandpa Altamary. They saw Keister in the woods, had a little discussion, not of the good-natured kind, basically about where they're hunting and why they're there and all that kind of shit. And then as Grandpa and Dad and Uncle John are walking away, Keister pulls a pistol out
No
and
shot.
points it at Dad or John.
Yeah, well, just at them and direct, like their
Yep.
direction. Yeah.
And our grandpa fucking spins around, starts loading shotgun shells into his gun. And he's like, don't you dare point your fucking gun at my grandsons. And they almost got in a shootout with this guy in the woods.
I think Dad
That's
and
awesome.
Dad says him and Uncle John like dropped on a knee and like
Yep.
pointed their guns at him too.
Yep, it
Like,
got
They had a
real.
standoff.
Yeah.
They did.
That's fucking sick.
almost
so,
some Cameron McLeod justice got performed.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
like, this is
Some Cloud
when
9
Dad tells
justice.
this story, he's like all serious. Like, he almost got in a shootout in the woods.
yeah.
And
You
then
know how old he was?
teenager, 13, 14?
Early hunting days for him, so probably maybe even like 13,
earlier than that.
14.
So it was more.
yeah.
It's probably almost 40 years ago.
This guy Keister. It's a shame he's lived as long as he has.
Yeah.
And he eventually bought the land that we were used to hunt on, where the whole trespassing thing was going down. So we never got to go back there even. And
We got kicked out of our ancestral hunting ground.
Imagine pulling a gun on some kids' backs. Like,
Yeah, some kids.
Shooting 2 13-year-olds in the back.
yeah,
That's,
well, I don't think he ever was gonna shoot anyone,
Yeah,
but he
and then
just
nobody
thought he was
shot.
like, I have this pistol.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what, like,
turn away.
that's the etiquette of a gun. You know, if you have a gun, you know the etiquette of a gun.
So our grandpa though was
Yeah.
a World War II veteran who was in France and everything.
Oh,
And
jeez.
so he was ready to. Dad always tells it like, Grandpa would have dropped that guy in half a second, and we would have been burying that guy's body for the rest of the day. That's
Yeah.
how he tells it. Like,
Well,
Damn.
credit to our great grandpa too. Didn't back down an
No.
inch, like,
no,
and
Got
made
gun
Keister
pointed
look
at
like a
him.
little bitch, basically too.
fucking walked right up to him.
Holstered his gun and walked away with his
Tail between his legs.
Too bad
Oh.
that didn't humble him for
That's what he
life.
said.
I'm a mildly Jeez, some Colin Gallup stories. go so fucking hard, dude. The rock and refuel incident of 20 something. The strongly worded email to the Hanford Corporation about not having your
Forgot about that. Yeah.
your post workout beverage
Also,
or whatever.
Rock and Refuel is a company his brother worked for too.
Okay.
So there's a little bit more like family ties to
Yes.
it, you know.
I never heard one word of this story from your dad. I heard it from your mom, and she tells it like the end times are now. Like the one time in her entire marriage she's ever seen your dad angry to a point of huffing and puffing down to a laptop and trying to figure out how to write and send an email.
I do remember too, like he said he sent it and somehow it didn't send. He had to type it all over again, and he was like, "They canceled it. Like they threw it out.
They intercepted my email and deleted it."
And he was pissed because I'm sure, did a whole letter and had to retype it all out.
Well, we've all been there when we've written a great thing and then all of a sudden
It's just gone.
can't find it again or didn't save it or something.
Horrid. It's a horrid.
But so
feeling.
our dad's a pretty stoic guy.
Yes.
So to see him get that fired up,
So get
gets our
roused
mom like,
for
"Oh,
family matters.
gets her.
But during that time though, he would like have 1 or 2 of those a day for himself even.
Oh, really?
And it was
What was Rock and Refuel? Was it like a
just a
protein shake?
Yeah, protein shake.
It's just like
But
creamy.
so that our
kinda-
Uncle Brian worked for that company.
Okay.
They're trying to distribute it at more places around here, and it was good actually.
I did. Like,
We
I
were
liked
in
it.
high school sports.
Yeah, I don't remember the
and
exact.
He was
timeline,
trying to
but-
fuel us up. Like he was.
In a rockin' way. Yeah.
He wanted us to be stronger than every
Any
other
mortal ever
person
could
we
be.
faced.
Yeah.
And he thought that was playing a huge role. So
roused him to.
Yeah, his brother was impacted. His sons were impacted. The capability of their athleticism was impacted.
Okay, this is a big deal.
And that's
yeah.
why he went, oh,
Yeah.
Also
And
on the
I remember
tangent.
thinking like, whatever in the time. I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Also on the tangent of cancellations,
respect
fucking they killed Perk Up, dude. Stewart Shops killed Perk Up.
Yeah.
What a tragedy.
It was
Rest
a matter
in peace.
of time, honestly.
been waiting for that day.
Perk Up was radioactive waste. It'll kill you eventually.
I'm probably the cancer I will have later in my life will result from the amount of Perk
of
I ingest.
Stewart's Perk Up. What was it? Was it like a Mountain Dew alternative, like a Sprite? I don't remember it now. It was
It's more
like
of a Sprite. Yeah.
more of a
citrusy,
Sprite.
lemon lime-ish kind
Because
of.
it was a clear liquid.
7
It just came in
but-
a radioactive green bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you know the Perk Up Challenge?
The Perk Up Challenge?
Yeah.
What?
You've never done it?
What is this?
So it happened twice.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow it was
Okay.
allowed to happen again.
Yep.
I think the first time was it after a fast or no? Or was that the second time?
I don't know if it was the first or second time now, but
Or was it even after a fast?
it was just like us three, James and Grant were hanging out.
I don't know if I was at the first one, but continue.
This is an in-house
Might
thing.
not
This is,
have been.
this is not a Stewart sponsored thing. This is an in-house thing you guys did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Or- it was probably during the banana Sprite challenge. Like we just
Oh, I remember that.
like made our
Yeah.
own variation of it.
Okay.
So like this was just after Nate had come back home from the Middle East, and so he kind of introduced Grant to Indian food and all this Eastern style cuisine, and so Grant was like, "You guys got to try this place in downtown Albany," and the food is just so good, and so we went to
It's an Indian buffet.
this Indian
Who
buffet
later
place.
got looted and destroyed during the
Albany
riots,
riots.
Black Lives Matter riots.
Yep. But so we
Yeah.
feasted ourselves until like we basically burst. And on our drive back, all of us felt like so full that we were going to get sick.
Okay.
And we invoked the banana Sprite challenge to rid ourselves of what we had just eaten.
A purging, yes, of
Yep.
course.
But so
The purge up.
we're driving back to Grant's house. We stop at Stewart's, pick up some Perk Up, and
Yeah, because Perk Up was a thing.
yeah,
Like, because we always joked that it's like the worst shit ever.
Yeah.
But
we'd always pick it up for
yeah, we'd always buy.
gatherings.
Yeah.
And so we grab some of the big
The 2 liters.
2 liters and head over to Grant's. We pull up. Grant immediately starts throwing up just from food. In
He
his
hasn't even
backyard.
had any of it yet.
No, these guys don't eat like normal people.
No.
When they get down, when they say they ate a lot of food,
That's a
inhuman.
yeah. That's a royal.
At least 3
royal
plates
feast, yeah.
each of Indian buffet. Yeah.
Oh God, that's nuclear
Probably.
levels.
Well, then there's that. Probably 4 plates.
I think I stopped at 3. I was probably the least full out of everyone.
James and Grant get real competitive with each other, and I do too, obviously. But and then the rice. I just remember seeing rice pudding. That was the first thing that came out of Grant's mouth into
Yeah,
the
it
yard.
came out in layers.
His grandma was like there watching, like, what's wrong with Grant? And Grant's just like, don't look at me.
Bring
No,
her
fucking
inside.
Bring her back inside. Starts throwing up all this food, and then basically it's just a spectacle now. Me versus James in the backyard. So we're gonna try and drink these entire 2 liters.
Oh, you have individual.
Yep.
Oh,
Individual
Jesus.
cheerleaders, James
Yep.
and Con.
Yep.
There's
so
a video of it somewhere out there.
Yeah.
It's lost media now.
It was like
yeah, unfortunate.
Translated to an iPhone, it's like barely visible, grainy footage.
But so, yeah, the challenge was to down the 2 liter without throwing up. After eating pounds and pounds of food.
an impossible task.
Yep.
But
But so, like, we start going. I spontaneously start to burp, and I cannot control the amount of CO2 and oxygen going in and out of my mouth. So I'm just like, cannot control myself.
Guttural.
Yeah, like
Repeated.
Yeah.
animalistic sounds.
Grant's cackling.
Yeah, Grant is howling, laughing, which is worse for me because now I'm smiling while half dying. And then I'm pretty sure I was the first one to puke, but so it's just Sprite that I'm throwing up, no actual food, and the
perk's coming back up,
This
yeah.
lurching pain just starts in my stomach, and then James just spills over and just lets it all out into the lawn, and then he keeps going
Oh, jeez.
because he's gonna finish the 2 liter, and then so I keep going, and then we both eventually just empty our guts into the yard.
Oh my gosh.
And
So the first round of it just bounced off the top layer of
Yeah.
curry in your belly and just came
curry,
right back up.
CO2 made my stomach expand, and then
Oh,
it just
jeez.
forced just the perk up back up. And but then so like I remember after it being all said and done, like sweating and fucking like, just breathing hard after that whole incident, and we were like, let's just go inside and play video games now or something. And
I still remember the look of just absolute like pain and terror on both of your faces
was
as
bad.
you're like finishing the last bit.
We're
Like
just
James just like like it's burned into my brain.
And this happened twice.
we did it another time just because it was hilarious.
Same
That's
circumstances.
Same exact.
Same
Yeah.
exact
Indian
circumstances.
buffet, 2 liter perk.
Yep.
I think it
Me
was
and Grant
off
did
a fast, though.
Yeah, that much time
So they
might have been off.
fasted for 3 days, went to Indian buffet, feasted, perked up.
Oh God.
Yep. So, but Grant didn't partake.
I don't think
Grant
I
had
ever
max
did,
capacity
too.
badge.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. We had special rules that we had set.
Max capacity badge.
Yeah.
He
So
said-
if you ate
yeah.
until you puked, that was more impressive than eating and then using a.
It wasn't more
Soda?
impressive. It was just a.
That's what he claimed. That's what
Yeah.
Grant claimed.
It,
Yeah.
And he gave himself a ribbon.
Yeah.
Okay.
That second time though wasn't as violent, but I was still like, I remember how much I didn't enjoy it the first time, so I was more hesitant. But I remember the second time going into the downstairs bathroom at Grant's house and like not being able to puke up as much as I wanted to outside.
Oh jeez.
But so when I curled myself up, like I made my knees touch my chest, and just the angle, just projectile vomited out all the rest of my stomach contents just because of the way I curled myself. And that felt so good. Oh my God. Really good feeling.
Is that the closest you ever come to feeling like you were gonna die?
No. I
That
felt
sounds
much
like
closer
death to me.
But that was, I mean, it's not fun. It makes for a funny video,
Oh,
but it's not that fun.
Yeah, it was funny. Funny to watch.
Yeah.
that's incredible. We'll be right back, folks.
Mischief Akasur.
I love you, Captain.
Engage the turbo thrusters.
More Star Trek: The Next Generation tonight at 9, only on TBS. This is shit that make you say, "Haichi mama." This shit ain't nothing to me, man. Make him look like a Resident Evil 5 campaign extra. world premiere, Dracula Flow 4, this Friday at 8 p.m. Only on TBS. Mischief Castle!
Well, then you just got like bitter curry coming up in your mouth.
Yeah. I mean, Indian alone. For some reason, Brooke didn't eat last night, like any dinner. I don't know why. There was a bunch of food there, but she wasn't hungry. And then as we're going home, she's like, we should get some food. I'm hungry. So we stopped at Indian place and got some tikka masala.
All right.
But, I mean, my ass was like bleeding before I got there. And then I just put that on top of it.
I've had some really solid
God.
shits since Thanksgiving.
I've been solid, yeah.
Like good shits.
I usually can't shit until I have like my first cup of coffee. But this morning, it was like huge turd before my first cup even.
Nice,
so
dude.
At least I'm getting through it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
You
Are we
got
done?
You got a couple segments?
12:45. How's everyone doing?
Oh.
It's getting late, I guess. Been here about 2 hours.
was 12:45.
Time flies when you're shooting the shits.
Does this thing have any sounds on it?
Well, I have the thing for it, but
All right.
I didn't put any.
We're going to do... All right, we'll be right back, folks.
We should play Catan and record it.
That'd be fun. Welcome back to Mischief Castle. We are going to close out...
YouTube video, too. Just like one camera of the board. Record our voices. Play it on.
We're gonna close out. Welcome back to Mischief Castle, folks. We're gonna close out with one repeated segment we like to do here on the show. This is called Biggest Problem of the Week. That's the wrong sound. It's DJ iRock is playing the wrong noises because I didn't preload them correctly on the pod track. But basically, what this is you talk about like the top 2 or 3 things that have been pissing you off or irking you just this week alone. Try and give it a snazzy title, and then we'll laugh about it. And once we all go around, we'll call it quits, and that'll be the end of this show forever.
Wow.
I'll start. Biggest problem of the week, number 1.
DJ Iro.
You guys can't hear it because I'm the only one wearing headphones, but there's like a 15-second song that plays every time I push that button.
Little segment music.
Biggest problem of the week, number 1 for me, is I might, for the first time in my life, have alcohol poisoning. My liver might be changed forever.
You drank a lot yesterday, dude.
It did not affect me. I actually went out on the town last night with my friend up in Saratoga, and I had more after that. And I did not feel any of it.
Should not have drove.
No.
I was fine. I was fine when I left.
If I was an op, I would have pulled you over and I would have dueled you
Yeah.
for your sobriety.
Drunken master, dude. I would have
Take a
sloshed
month
my way
off.
around that. I need to get another fight first. That's what really like kicks me into high gear to get myself in shape. Because I have not, like, my stomach has not felt good since like August. Just I don't know why. My tolerance is like I'm up there with the experts. I'm up there with the pros.
Think so?
I think yeah. It takes quite a while for me to feel any of it. Yeah, I'm gonna start moving from alcohol to like glue and glitter. I'm gonna go up there with Mr. Nice. He's from here. You guys know that?
Yeah.
He's our coach's
Yeah.
brother.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
You
Local
went-
hero.
You went from wine to Bailey's to Yingling to Coke last night, I think.
Coke got thrown around late?
Coke.
Yeah, you had a couple
Coca-Cola.
Cokes.
Coca-Cola.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not that
Yes.
kind of
God, yeah, that would wreck my insides.
Nope.
And then you
didn't do
apparently went
anything to
out
it.
later, too.
Yep.
Back
Yeah.
from Eaton's. Like, we both recognize that's not good.
No, of course not.
So we just stopped.
I'm trying to get it out of my system entirely.
My tolerance is
Yeah,
still
young.
pretty high.
I'm hoping by the time my next birthday rolls around, I can like
You're 22?
22, yeah. Hoping I can
Peak alcoholism.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm hoping to get a girlfriend and then just change the trajectory of my life entirely. That's my like sole internal motivation is to forge like relationships that I willingly build. So due to the fact
Doing
that
that through apps or something? Or like,
I'm just trying to live life. I've gotten off of dating apps entirely. Dating apps are fucking garbage. They're this weird. They were built to circumvent the uncertainties of going out and meeting people in real life back before they were a thing, right? So, like, if you go out to a bar or a place that you hang out and see somebody that you want to approach and talk to, you don't know what their situation is. You don't know if they're taken. You don't know if they're single but not looking for anybody. You don't know if they like you, if they don't, or whatever. So, building an app...
Facebook is one of the first ones to
Yeah.
kinda crack that.
Facebook and dating apps were built to remove that layer of it, right? So, ideally, single people who want to meet somebody else are on these apps, and you can interact with them, and then the stated objective by even being on the app is that you're looking to meet somebody to become a partner with or have a fling with. To do the fleek with.
Some people just want a fleek. They don't.
Some
want a
people do just want a fleek. The
But most
change
want to have a good time. They don't really care about
the
the
change in culture now that dating apps are a norm is that we've recreated the problem that they were meant to circumvent artificially. People will have dating apps and treat it like a game. Like how many hot guys can I see today? How many hot girls can I see today? Take bets on if I can swipe 50 times to get one match. Like, people's intentions are no longer what the apps were actually designed for. So
Like,
you
that's
get
a
this
small percentage, though.
It's most of it. It is most of it now.
I've only ever used one. Just
I've
for
used-
like a month.
I've used 4, and I know a lot of people my age and like people in school right now specifically. It's a hellish nightmare world where everybody kind of seems like this weird drone who
Just reject it.
you can't read. You can't read at all. Yeah, I got rid of it. I'm just trying to like. All the dates I've been going on are just people I meet at like work and stuff or around.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
Just be like, just want to grab coffee sometime.
Yes. Yeah. That's what
like,
you have to
that's
do.
like a perfect intro.
Yeah.
Can I buy you coffee?
Yeah.
I'll come back to my place. and
Actually, these
fleek.
guys don't really know much about that.
fleek the
But since
fleek.
I've been back on the scene, it's a lot like that.
Yeah. All right. That was my biggest problem of the week. Who would like to go next? Does anyone have something that's been bugging them you want to get off your chest?
You know what really grinds my gears?
Do you have one, or are you just saying something? Are you
Yeah, I
going?
got
Are you going?
one.
All right. Let me play the sound. Biggest problem of the week for Evan. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. You're alive.
You know, and sometimes you're coming back home and, you know, you got a lot of things you got to do, a lot of people to see, a lot of people to talk to. And then your friend from college goes, "Hey, man, you busy? Cool if we
Foig?
spend the day together?" And you're just like, ah.
Puts you in
Yeah.
a tough spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not enough hours in the day.
there's just not enough time.
Yeah.
And you don't want to let anyone down,
Yeah.
but you know, you just kind of have to make the choices of who you want to cut out of your life. Like this guy,
Yeah.
we still talk a little bit, but it's like I don't want to see it, man. It's-
Yeah,
That's-
there's
that's a
more
situation you
there's
get into
Other
more.
things I'd rather be doing.
Yeah.
It's what it comes down to. I think as you get older, you fight that more and more of like trying to please people. I
Yeah.
think.
If
Well-
you were still living here, though, would you hang out with this guy? Would you find time eventually to hang out with this guy?
definitely.
Yeah. Okay. It's just vacation. Coming back home for vacation is just
He's like, hey,
time
man, I'm
ends.
here to see my family. No, sorry, but if he's a man, he'll understand that.
It's a holidays. It's the holidays as well. Like,
But like, I could use Joe Malone hit me up. He's like, "Want to hang out this Saturday?" Be like, "No, man, Evan's in town. Sorry, man."
Yeah.
He's like, "No worries."
just happens like that.
He does want to watch a football game. He
He
said.
Where
told me
at?
he reached
Yeah.
out to you. Yeah,
Um,
his house probably.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
so-
not like go to one.
no.
Yeah.
But he just closed on his house fairly recently, and
Clothes on his house, baby on the way. He wants to.
he's got a
Chill
cool
with the
like man
fellas.
cave.
Yeah.
In the house, so like a bar in the basement. Like, it's
Sick.
pretty sweet. So I want to even just go hang out there and I told him we should play some Assassin's Creed while we're over.
Like the good old times.
Mm-hmm.
All right, which one of you two would like to go next?
They're also expecting child.
Yeah.
And they just bought a dog. So they're like...
They're moving.
Yeah,
Nice.
checking
They are
boxes
moving.
of what you're supposed to do, I guess.
I guess
But
I'll go.
All right, Connor's biggest problem of the week.
that was a good one, though, Ed.
Grinds my gears.
You are live.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on top of the concept of time, which there doesn't seem to be much of, mine in this past week has been diligence. So I've been before Thanksgiving had been really trying to focus on getting into keto, starting to shed some weight, getting back in the gym, but this week has been
Tough time of year to do
totally it totally derailed my entire plan. And it's not because it's bad. Thanksgiving, you get some of the best meals, you're hanging out with some of the best people in your life, but it kind of just ruined my plan.
Oh, of course.
So I'm kind of in that state now where, like, I stepped on the scale this morning, I'm like, oh, fuck.
I don't do it anymore. I
But-
just straight up, unless I need to know my weight for a fight, I do not give a fuck what
Well,
that
I've just been
number is.
writing it down on this little notepad that I have in my bathroom, because it kind of just helps me see, like, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm actually making progress.
or-
Yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that before, because I think 2 years ago, it was in preparation for my trip to the Netherlands. Like, I'd started on New Year's, and by April, I'd lost like 45, 50 pounds. So I was really on a good track for that. But so I was trying to get back into that same mentality, and it just doesn't work with the holidays.
Nope, not at
So
all.
that's my gripe this week, just trying to stay diligent.
Oh, yeah.
But with Christmas coming up, I don't know if I'll probably be in another similar situation.
You might gotta...
Holiday party for
Yeah.
work coming back
Oh,
up too.
jeez.
So
You gotta go scorched earth. Just get some lipo right before right before
Get
Christmas.
some
Be like, I'm
lipo.
gonna put all this back on.
no.
I need to be skin and
But
bones.
I outside the holidays, I know I just gotta keep eating right, and then stay in the weight room. But then, just kind of like the first time I did it, as soon as January 1st hits, like,
Resolution time, baby.
yeah, take it off. So
That's good.
thanks.
That's a good one. All right, we'll close it out with our gracious host, Ryan. Here's Ryan's biggest problem of the week.
I roll.
Here we go.
Well, I feel very blessed I don't have that many problems, I guess. And my problems are not like that crucial, I guess, at the same time. Like, my problem, I have multiple problems, but most of it is like trying to grow the business, stuff like that.
Yes,
And that's a problem that carries over from week to week, from year to year, honestly.
of course.
So just trying to do that because I want to get to a point where I can not do it hands-on anymore. So, and that's what I've been working towards. Sort of, I remember January 1st, I set some goals for the year. It was, I have my first 5 hires. It was pay off my student loans, pay off my truck, and I think work on like leadership skills, something like that. And I've hit a lot of those. So this next year, it's just going to be building on the company. I would like to get to 20 this year. That's going to be a tough one, but
On hires?
yeah.
Okay.
But
And
and
this
then
upcoming year,
yeah,
okay, 2024.
yeah. So, and then the year after that, 50. Like, that's an aggressive growth strategy, but I think it's still attainable.
So you're just trying to turn this into a machine that functions on
Exactly.
its own, yeah.
Like,
not
real
bad.
estate's
Not a bad
fun. I
goal.
like
Awesome.
doing it, but there's still a bunch of other things I'd rather be doing.
Yeah, of course.
And then using that money to kind of stabilize my life, hopefully pay off a house one day, and, you know, get to a point where my goal was always get to a point where I could fuck off.
Yep.
That's been always my goal. So I see it in the path. I just got to keep finding the motivation to tackle it, you know?
I mean, it is honestly amazing what you've done. I mean, somebody who doesn't know you, who could listen to this, like, you've met a couple of my friends. They don't really know you. They're just, you know, they would see you and see, like, oh, just Cam's cousin who does the realty. But, like, as people who've known you since we were all literal children, too. I mean, In my estimation,
Tough.
you're one of the few people I know who's actually like done some. Like I've watched you do something with your life, which
Yeah.
is incredible.
It's tough. Building a business is definitely tough. I think it takes just a lot of like risk and faith in yourself, and kind of just saying, well, I'm gonna put this all out there, and if it all blows up, then I'm just gonna have to live with the embarrassment of it a little bit, you know. So, but once I finally said I don't give a fuck, like I don't care if this all blows up in my face, then it kind of gave me the freedom to do it. So, if
Good.
anyone
That's
can
awesome.
take anything from that statement, like I think that's a good lesson in life. Like, just put yourself out there. Whatever happens, happens. Most people are at their own shit to worry about at the end of the day. So,
Nice.
And Cam, that's what you've done here, man. 100 episodes.
100.
Put yourself out there.
Don't even try to yank.
Proud
my
of
chain
you,
like
man.
That. This is fucking nothing.
100.
All right.
It's still
big, dude.
a milestone, accomplishment, and I'm sure you've learned a lot from 1 to 100. You know.
I've learned some things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some
I
things.
think you're much more well spoken and could listen to your soothing
definitely more
voice.
confident.
Yeah,
I think it's just growing up a little bit.
probably. But you've got a voice here, and you put your thoughts out there. And, coming from your 3 role models,
Yes, actually.
in life,
3 older brothers.
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Closest
man.
thing I could ever have. Is this what it's like to be white? Let's go, dude.
Yeah,
All right.
we can get you there.
I'll try not to look this gift horse in the mouth too much. All right. Ev, Connor, Ryan, and your host, Cameron McLeod. Thank you all for joining us. Any and all listening, watching on the YouTube, on the Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. This has been Mischief Castle, episode 100, whatever the hell it's predominantly called, as well as the show probably forever. We're calling it Wraps. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for listening. It's been a blast.
Peace out.
Be good.
Mischief Castles.